Alrighty, so I have been playing Labyrinth all day long, and why not keep playing it? Because it's actually really fun. The problem I have with it so far is that it tends to be a bit RNG heavy, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's also a game designed around RNG. So, the one thing to note is that it ends in a month. It lasts for a month, so that you have 1 month basically to get all of the rewards here. It is pretty tough. You have to know what characters do. You have to really take your time in thinking out your team strategy and everything like that if you really want to take it seriously and have a chance at winning. I love the mechanics of it so far. As a new game mode, this one it's genuinely fun enough to where I'm having a good time doing it. I'm super disappointed when I lose. I had a run earlier today where I was able to make it all the way to the very last boss on floor 3, but I was just not able to beat him, and it was very disappointing. He does so much damage right out of the gate, and I ended up going turn 2 because I didn't have enough CC to beat him, which is another weird thing. Characters don't show how much CC they have. It's one of the whole like question mark CCs, but it's an actual number, because you can beat over it. The first time that I got to floor 2's boss, it's Droll, if you don't know, for this time. I got there, and the first time I got to it, I went second. He absolutely destroyed me, and that ended my run. The second time that I got there, which was the time that I got all the way to the last boss, I was able to go first because I was a higher level, or I had higher awakening. I'm not positive on which one, but I was able to beat over his CC, which let me go first, which means I was able to ult rush and shut him down. Very cool. So that just means that you need to take it that much more seriously. You need to figure out which ones you need to go for. You need to figure out whether or not you need to level up your characters, awaken your characters, swap characters out for other characters so hopefully your synergy's better. Go for good passives. These passives are insane. The passives are so good. That you're definitely going to want to try to rack up as many of them as you can. The problem being, some of them are incredibly specific to where it's like you need to have the same attribute on your entire team. You need to have different races on your entire team. Just different kinds of things like that. You need to have over a certain amount of HP to gain buffs or stats or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of specifics in some of the passives, and you need to try to stick to as many of them as you can, so that way you get the most out of them. And it can be very RNG heavy on, rolling good passives, rolling good characters to pair with the passives, just in general. So when you start out, it gives you a choice between I don't think you can even get festival characters until floor 3 from my experience so far. Maybe you can get them in floor 2, but I'm not positive on that. The only time I've seen festival characters in the lineup is on floor 3. So it's basically going to be non-fests. I don't think you can get Green Gother either on floor 1, but this first lineup is going to be a Bon, Elihawk, Deanne, or Meliodas. And I think the second lineup, we'll talk about that one when we get there. These are not great characters. This is probably the worst lineup I've had at the moment. If you get Green Brawler Bon, he's actually pretty good, because he has a lifesteal card as well as an extort, which is really great. I think I'm gonna go with this Bon. Unfortunately, he's got 2 single targets, which is whatever, but it kind of just is what it is. Let's go for the Bon. I'm probably going to skip the battles because they're, pretty straightforward. I guess I can show you like the gist of the battle, but they tend to take a little bit in the beginning, and then as you ramp up, you can kind of blow through them a lot faster depending on what you have. So you can see we're going to be a base level 1 SSR character, nothing crazy. We do get pretty decent RNG here on the first pull, which means we can rush ult turn 2. Which is great. I don't know if this is going to kill or not. Ooh, okay, we do kill. Charge card actually pretty decent in this. It's really interesting, though. I think the thing that makes this so fun is that I get to use characters that I haven't used in a really long time, or that I've just never used because I didn't think they were good at the time, and have since been power crept into oblivion. So it is just fun messing around with a whole variety of characters. I think that is fantastic. It's a really interesting way to like make the game fun, of course. So they definitely have that going for them. The next big thing that you want to worry about when it comes to this game mode is debuffs, and it's kind of a double-edged sword because you can... Attack Seal is probably the strongest thing in this game. On the second roll of characters that you go to, you can either get a Gother or a Merlin. If you can roll Summer Merlin, which I have not rolled the entire time I've played this game mode, I would say I've tried from the beginning probably 10 to 15 different times, and I've so far not been able to get Summer Merlin on any of those rolls. But there's been several rolls where, oh my god, there she is. That's insane. Why? So she's fantastic. I think she's the go-to. If you can get her, that's great. There's also a chance that instead of Slater, it's a Gother character. So if you can get Red Gother, having the rank up is fantastic, along with the Attack Seal is also super, super good. But the Attack Seal is why you want to get Merlin, if possible. So insane that the one time I'm recording it, I actually get her. But she is going to make it a ton easier. The big thing to note here as well is that the ones that have the higher level chess pieces on them are going to be harder battles. So going into these, if you're gonna start this and you don't end up getting an Attack Seal character, then it's going to be a lot harder to get through these unique stages and get out with a decent amount of HP, which I guess it's also going to rely on RNG as well, on whether or not I can pull enough Merlin cards to keep them sort of attack sealed. But the one run where I got all the way to the very final boss, I had a really fun team. I'll pull it up right here and we'll look at it. Unfortunately, I was talking to a friend and I'll probably just mute the audio from it because it's just kind of all over the place. So let me pull it up. And then we will kind of look at some of the gameplay from like the very end, because as far as I'm concerned, the rest of this is pretty, self-explanatory. So let's mute. This was the team that I had towards the end. So I was able to pull Light Liz, who's fantastic. We had Red Gother, who was ranking up, doing really well. This Red Small Deanne was actually super nuts because her debuff card lowers defense-related stats by 20%, and it attack seals for 2 turns on a level 1. So I could basically use that if a character was going to attack twice straight out of the gate. I could basically, shut them down from doing that with Deanne, focus on moving cards and stuff like that. There's really good passives that you can unlock where it basically like starts your turn out with 3 ultimate move gauge orbs if you meet the specific requirements. I think mine was they all needed to be different races, so I have a giant, an unknown, and a goddess character on the team. So that was really good to be able to ult rush straight out of the gate. Going for the ult rush build, as you make your way through the board, you can sort of see that there are, or well, I'm not on the board at the moment, but there are there's board pieces that give you ultimate move gauge as well. Or ultimate move gauge. They give you ultimate levels, so you're starting the game out like as bare bones as it gets, like as much of a peon as you can be. But as you sort of progress through, I got to the point where I was like, oh man, do I really want to swap some of these characters out? I ended up re-rolling on this one several times to see if I could try to maybe pull Festival King in this fairy slot, because it was either Helbram or it was King, but I could not seem to re-roll it and get lucky with Festival King. I would have loved to have had his shield there, but yeah, if you make it to these spots, it'll upgrade your ultimate, which I think I ended up going for because I didn't end up needing any of the characters that were on the next stage that I was going for. This was a really interesting fight because Cusack ends up getting 1 hit off on me right here at the beginning because it's a debuff skill and I can't seal that. And it dealt pretty good damage, so I know that they probably would have wrecked me if I didn't like shut them down completely, but the attack seal is just so strong. And once I got Light Liz, who was just the festival character that I needed, she was just doing tons of damage. Like the flood card right here almost kills him turn 1, which is pretty nuts. So you can see right here, I think this is an AoE card that he ends up using as well. So I mean, that's not insane damage, but you can imagine that's gonna ramp up or like add up over time if you're able to let them like keep hitting you and everything. So lots of attacks here. This is actually Red Esterosa, so he's got double attacks, so that was perfect seal. I got through that one pretty quick, I have to say. I think I ended up skipping on this one went for the ultimate move gauge, went for the awakening, and the thing that screwed me the most here was I got to melee, and unfortunately, you can see right here, my CC is red, which means that I was going to be going second. I have all of these passives, I have max health, I've got all this good stuff, but the bosses in this mode are, well, at least the second boss and the third boss are immune to all debuffs, so you cannot attack seal them, you can't lock them down in any way. You literally just need to survive, try to rush your ultimate, and just try to kill if you can. I only had 2 Super Awakening stars, which I think was the biggest reason why I lost. But you can see, like, as soon as we get in, I've got Gother on the field, and this melee goes first. He literally swipes almost half of my HP away and then one-shots Gother with the second card. So really ridiculous. I tried to hope that both of these characters were going to end up being the ones that didn't get targeted, because he hit Deanne second there. I was like, okay, maybe he'll keep going for Deanne and I can hopefully get an ult off. So I rushed ult for Zeldris and for Elizabeth, and unfortunately he has a passive where if he attacks you, he steals an ultimate move gauge orb from you, which means that even though I did a lot of damage with this flood card, he literally steals both of the ults, and I think he kills Zeldris in one hit, which is ridiculous. And then he just, you know, he attacks twice here, kills Liz. I'm literally screwed at that point. Didn't go for an ult on her, which doesn't matter because he also has a revive, so that's great as well. It literally, if you're not going first on this one, I literally think you just can't win. Like, you're probably going to lose. So that's super, super unfortunate. That's where the RNG starts to get really annoying, I think. But altogether, in general, I love it. It's such a fun game mode compared to what's already in the game. It could literally be its own game and it would be super fun. Obviously, the RNG can be very frustrating, of course, if you're trying over and over again, or if you're just trying for the rewards. Maybe if you don't find the game mode fun, you're not going to enjoy it because, you know, the RNG is probably going to end up screwing you enough to where you're going to get super sick of it. I can completely understand. But for the most part, I think as a person who enjoys playing with different kinds of characters and stuff like that, I find the game mode super, super enjoyable. So let me know what your thoughts and opinions are. I'm not going to do a tips or tricks guide or anything like that because honestly, I haven't even been able to beat it yet. I've gotten so close, but I just can't get that way or get that little bit done. But hopefully, maybe this run with Merlin will push me over the edge. So either way, I'll try to come back I'll try to make another video hopefully whenever I've done enough of these to where I feel comfortable giving you great advice. But I'm loving it so far. Hopefully you guys are too. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.